Good afternoon, my name is Oscar and this is my video submission for Stressing Me Out. So when it comes to stress is that one thing that I believe, in my opinion, everyone has experienced at one point or another. When I think about the word stress in my own words, to me, stress is basically mental tension or something that's really causing you to worry. Usually it has to do with a problem. Uh, so it can cause you a lot of worry. It can make you focus so much on the problem and not on the solution. I've noticed that my body reacts to stress in different ways. Usually, when I am starting to feel stressed out, it's usually accompanied by a stiff neck. I usually have a stiff neck, and then right after that, tension headache. And usually I've noticed that I become a bit of an introvert, which means I'm no longer communicative, I'm not outgoing. I like to keep to myself when I'm stressed out. When we're talking about stress can have a variety of impacts on the human body. Believe it or not, it can affect the nervous system, it can affect hormones, and it can even affect the human heart. So when we talk about the nervous system, within the nervous system, we have the autonomic or the unconscious nervous system, which some of the things it controls are the heart, blood vessels, your temperature, your breathing, your digestive system, just to name a few. So you'll notice that some people get affected differently. For example, some people may not eat any food when they are stressed out, while others may start to sweat profusely. Uh, so those are some of the ways that stress can affect the nervous system. When talking about hormones, men and women have different hormones. In women, they have prominent estrogen, whereas in males, we have androgen. It has been shown, and studies have shown, that when it comes to stress can actually alter a menstrual cycle in a female due to the estrogen levels. And in males, it also has been proven that due to the androgen levels, when stress hits, it can also potentially cause hair loss, which is something that's very, very important to a lot of people. And lastly, while more research still needs to be done on all the full effects of stress on the heart, I can tell you that some of the things leading to heart disease are directly impacted by stress. For example, remember when we were talking about the nervous system. In the nervous system, it handles the blood pressure, even your own temperature from overheating, and the heart. And as we know, the heart pumps blood to all parts of the body. So as I said, there's still more research that needs to be done, but managing stress could potentially affect your heart, thus affecting the rest of your organs if you think about it from a big picture standpoint. Now I'd like to go ahead and talk about three different topics. I'd like to talk about the word optimism. In my own words, when I think of the word optimism, optimism to me is a tendency to find the good in the bad, in my own words. It's a tendency of looking at a problem but trying to find the good in a problem. For example, we've heard the term silver linings. Oh man, that was horrible, but guess what came out of it? That's usually what optimism is. When it comes to self-efficiency, in my own words, self-efficiency is your own personal belief that you have the ability to succeed, that you will not give up, that you won't quit there. And lastly, hardiness. Hardiness is the ability to endure or push through the problem. It could be a difficult situation, and you're not giving up there. You're going to keep going, you're going to push through it, and you're going to find a solution. So in my opinion, that's the definition of hardiness. So it's very important that we as individuals understand how to manage stress. The reasoning behind that is because once you can see stress coming or you can feel it starting to come on, you can then equip yourself to be better prepared to deal with your stress and ultimately find a solution to your problem. So some of the stresses that I currently face in my line of work, I work for Anthem under Human Resources and Learning and Development. And some of the stresses that we currently experience are tough clients, difficult business partners and the requirements that they have. And if we're delivering a course or a new hire orientation, difficult associates, Or it can be system access for new hire associates, benefits that aren't kicking in. Sometimes associates don't get paid on time. So those are some of the stresses that we face from an HR standpoint. Uh, when I reflect back on some of the ways that I've effectively or unsuccessfully handled stress, I'd like to begin by the way I successfully handle stress, for example, is system access. System access is something that every new associate needs to have because without that, they can't access the system. They can't open to enroll in benefits. They can't make their selections. They can't even send an email if they need to. So some of the things that I've done to mitigate that is prior to classes starting, I go ahead and make that request with leadership to make sure that they submit the request so all associates have access. And for whatever reason, if I've noticed that the access hasn't been requested, I stop training where we're at and I make sure that I submit the request and expedite the request so the associate can have access and training can continue or resume. Now, another way that I've unsuccessfully handled stress, I vaguely remember earlier this year applying for a learning consultant position. It was a 3-step process. I made it through all 3 rounds. The very first round was a panel interview and a phone interview, a panel interview, and I had to create assignments. The second phase of the interview was also a secondary assignment, and that was a panel interview with leaders. And then the final one, which was also an assignment, I had to create a project, and I had to present it to executive leadership. I will tell you that when it came, I made it past the first round, made it past the second round, but when I made it to the third round, I stressed out. I stressed out to the point where I was no longer communicating the way that I usually do. I was speaking very fast. I was nervous. I was sweating. My heart rate was beating uncontrollably. Ultimately, I did not get the position, and the feedback that I received was that I need to work on my interviewing skills. So I made it past the first round. Second round, I made it to the third round, and the reason I didn't get the job was my interviewing skills. So I very quickly learned that I needed to find ways to deal with my stress, because if you don't, you can't focus on what you need to do. You're focusing on your problem. So some of the things that I learned, or great strategies for dealing with stress, are as follows. I've noticed that creating a stress journal, which means just for those of us that are writers, we can write and pen everything that we need to in order to free ourselves and free our mind. Also talking through your problems, finding an associate, finding a significant other, sister, brother, cousin, a family member, to talk about what those stresses are, which will then allow your mind some clarity to help you focus on a solution and not so much on the problem. Getting active, which is my personal favorite, working out, doing calisthenics, jumping jacks, push-ups, running, going to the gym. That'll, again, help alleviate your mind, which will then help you focus on a solution versus a problem. And lastly, but most importantly, avoiding unnecessary stress. If you can, by all means, avoid that stress, please do so, and you will notice that you will live a happier, healthier life. And more importantly, whenever stress starts to come on, you'll know how to handle it. Thank you. Have a great day.